Welcome back to Verity Views, where we break down the facts behind the headlines. You know, when a new attraction opens up in a place as packed as the Great Smoky Mountains, it's a pretty big deal. But one new park has been making headlines for, well, maybe not all the reasons they'd hoped for. So today, we're going to get into the full story of SkyLand Ranch.
Yeah, you heard that right. A brand new park, a state investigation, and a massive fire. It's a lot to happen in a really short amount of time. So what's actually going on over at this new Sevierville attraction? Let's dig into what we really know, sticking just to the verified facts.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the event that put the ranch right back in the news just recently.
So picture this. It's the middle of the night, around 2 a.m. on February 13th, and a huge fire breaks out at the park. We're talking two big barns, the ones where they kept the animals, just completely engulfed in flames.
Now, the first thing everyone wanted to know was, what about the animals? And the good news, the really important news, is that officials confirmed every single animal was safe. No people were hurt either, which is a huge relief. But the barns themselves, they were a total loss.
So that's the big recent event. But it kind of begs the question, right? What exactly is SkyLand Ranch? Let's take a step back and get the basics.
Okay, so SkyLand Ranch is this massive 100-acre spot in Sevierville, Tennessee, right near the Great Smoky Mountains. The whole idea is pretty cool. It's part working farm, part amusement park. So you get to see live animals and get that whole ranch feel, but also ride stuff like a mountain coaster, all with these incredible mountain views.
And get this was not some small-time operation. They poured a reported $40 million into creating this place. Yeah, $40 million. That tells you they were really serious about making a splash in what is a super competitive tourist area. So you have a grand opening, and then, just a couple of years later, a huge fire. How do we get from point A to point B? Let's walk through the timeline piece by piece. It's been a really eventful couple of years for them. Things kicked off with a grand opening in late 2023, but then, pretty quickly, we see a state investigation. After that, a big expansion in 2025, and then, of course, the fire we just talked about. Let's break each one down. So, November 2023, the big day arrives. The park opens its gates. Visitors could ride a scenic chairlift, hang out with some miniature animals, and try out its signature ride, the Wild Stallion Mountain Coaster.
But, it wasn't long before things got a little complicated. Just a few months after opening, in April 2024, the state got involved. The Tennessee Department of Agriculture started an official investigation into the welfare of its livestock. This was all triggered by a specific complaint about the park's longhorn cattle.
So how did the park respond? Well, the owner, Mark Williford, went on the record. He was quoted in news reports saying that state inspectors had already been there, that they found no issues. And he said, quote, "We treat our animals like kings."
And it seems like they didn't let that scrutiny slow them down. Because the very next year, in 2025, they went big. They added the wagon wheeler, this huge rotating swing ride that they say is the tallest in all of Tennessee. I mean, that's a serious addition that basically doubled their number of major rides, showing they were all in on growing the park.
Okay, so that's the timeline of what's been happening. But what's it actually like for you, the visitor? Let's talk about the money. What does it cost to get in?
All right, so here's how their pricing works, and this is pretty important. Your general admission ticket gets you certain things. You can see them there on the left. That's the chairlift ride to get up the mountain, access to the animals and play areas, and enjoying the views. But the big rides and other activities, the stuff on the right, those all cost extra. You have to pay for them individually.
So for just that general admission ticket, one local publications review put the price for an adult at $27.
Okay, so you've paid your $27 to get in. Now, you want to ride that main mountain coaster? That'll be another $19, according to that same source, just for one ride. And this pay-per-ride model is a huge topic in visitor reviews. Some people like that they can pick and choose, but a lot of others, especially families, say they're pretty surprised by how quickly it all adds up.
All right, this next part is really important. Here at Verity Views, we always want to be super clear about what is a confirmed fact and what's still kind of up in the air. So let's separate the known from the unknown.
So here's what we know for sure. The fire happened, fact. Everyone, animals and people, were safe, fact. We also know for a fact the state launched that animal welfare investigation, and we have the owner's public response to it. But here's what we don't know. We still don't have an official cause for the fire. That's still being investigated. Also, about that animal welfare issue, while the owner said inspectors found no issues, news reports from that time describe the investigation as ongoing. We haven't seen an official, final report closing that case.
So, with all this happening in its first couple of years, where does SkyLand Ranch stand today? How does it stack up against the competition?
Well, one local publication did a ranking of the area's big mountain parks back in 2025, and as you can see, they put SkyLand Ranch at number 3. It came in behind some real heavy hitters, Ober Mountain and Anakeesta. So that just goes to show you they've got some serious competition out there.
So let's just wrap this all up. What's the big picture here? Well, you've got a brand new, super ambitious $40 million park, but its first couple of years have been rocky, to say the least. You've got a state investigation, a major fire, a pricing model that people definitely have strong feelings about, and it's all happening in a place with a ton of other established parks. It's a tough spot to be in.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? When you're the new kid on the block, especially in a place filled with giants, can you overcome a start like this? Can your story eventually become about more than the challenges you faced right out of the gate? I guess that's something only time will tell.